Hey, what's up, folks? It's Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, channel that always has your back and tells it like it is. Well, today it is your weekly Jasmy update. So I've got a big recap for you. We got a lot going on this week in terms of the some of the FUD from early on, the ICO FUD. We've had a lot of mixed messages, especially from the Jasmy Foundation that have come out. I think the community is kind of looking at who do we believe? You know, why does this happen? All these things. So we're going to be tackling those topics in today's video. I'm also going to be getting into a little bit on who Jasmy's mystery owner may indeed be. We think we're getting closer to that, and we think we're also getting closer to how they tie into the ICO FUD. So hopefully we'll get some clarification on this. I'm also going to be talking about the Jasmy Clubhouse NFTs. I did a video on them earlier this week. Check that out if you haven't yet. They're super cool, and they're out there on OpenSea right now. We'll see what comes of that. I'm probably going to have a follow-up to that video because I've been talking with some of the team there on the side. So more to come on that front, so stay tuned. And I've got a lot of other news to update you with as well, including our weekly Jasmy calls that we've been doing, as well as the circulating supply, okay? So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you click the bell, you'll be made aware whenever I post time-sensitive content just like this. And now, let's get it going. All right, what's up, everybody? So I wanted to kick this video off by going through my feed here from everything new that's happened since the last update. So to start off, the first thing here that's worth mentioning is Jasmy US had posted the recording that it's now recorded our weekly call. So highly recommend checking out those recordings now. When we do our weekly call all about Jasmy, we've always got lots of really good speakers on the call, and you always learn something new. Even me, I learned tons of new stuff when I listen to that call between the various speakers, whether it's Jasmy US, Blake, Brian, Dip Metaverse, Carl, etc., on down the line. There's tons and tons of really good info you can get, Dr. Shaw, etc. So by all means, keep a lookout for the next invite. Lately, Jasmy US has been hosting these along with Blake. So between the two of them, one of them will usually post the invite, and then I will retweet it on my Twitter feed. And so if you're available, the time of these has been for 5:30 Eastern Time US, essentially. So whatever time zone you're in, if you want to just kind of think of it off of that. And you can listen to it live on there, ask questions, or you can always just play this recording later. So by all means, check that out. Now, outside of that, we had a update here from Dip Metaverse on the circulating supply numbers. I'm not going to cover this one too much because he even did another update after this. So we've had some coins moving, okay? Captain Jasmy said, hey, let's get Jasmy trending in the bear market. Great idea, retweeted this post. Out it went. Jasmy US, this was another good one for the Jasmy Muslim community. Eid Mubarak to the Muslim Jasmy community around the globe. May this holy festival bring life, light, and joy. And I want to say that I think I saw a video of Dr. Shaw participating in that. So I agree with you 100%. Great post. All right. Now, this right here, this is kind of funny. So, you know, I like to break up these videos with a few jokes here and there. So this one is buying the dip in 2022. This is what it feels like. So this is kind of funny. This is basically a van on fire that says my portfolio. I think we all feel like this right about now. And the guy is throwing in a bottle of water that did absolutely nothing. So that kind of sums it up. You know, I mean, when the market gets as bare as it's been lately, I mean, all of us, I'm sure, even myself, we sit back and we go, you know, am I really calling this right? You know, it's like I've done hours and hours and hours and hours of research, and my portfolio is way down also. You know, everybody's are down. It is what it is, and it's not just crypto. You know, I mentioned on the channel in the last week or so, there was a post that came out about how the stock market lost $8.5 trillion in value. So it's markets across the board, and this latest CPI number of 9.1% inflation isn't helping. So more bear market to come, right? All right. So moving on up here from there, let me just cruise on up in my feed. We had this post that I did on the 12th. So I said, just took another look at the Jasmy Clubhouse NFTs on OpenSea. Accessories include the PlayStation, Sony Walkman, Sony receiver, and even a Nintendo Game Boy. Probably nothing. Now, I want to clarify this project a little later on. So I've got another post that I want to talk about this, and I'll maybe clear this up a little bit, as well as I may also have a follow-up video to the video that I posted on this. So stay tuned for that, okay? All right, yeah, here we go. CPI at 9.1, ouch, and the storm continues, right? And these are just kind of my generic thoughts on the CPI. U.S. debt highest ever. Fed will raise rates higher. That's all true. Borrowing is going to get more expensive. Also true. Recession chances are pretty much all but confirmed, right? That's kind of a given at this point. So anyhow, here we go. Post from Dip Metaverse, and actually, I think Zippy found it. Or maybe posted it first. Anyway, one of you guys posted it. So shout out to both of you. But we had a new Jasmy posting. It was this article right here in TimesNewsWire. So it's basically like a press release. And it says, Jasmy's introduction of DD coins essential to provide a reliable and stable unit of valuation for the ecological environment. Now, everything that's in here is basically what we've already seen on CT, so on Twitter. The same imagery is used in here. This is basically just putting it in sort of a PR article format, okay? So not really a whole lot to cover there in terms of new information, right? But regardless, still good to have another article out there on Jasmy, and especially, when anybody is searching on something like Google, well, here's another article that can pop up, okay? All right, so coming back around here, so had a post here from Hara that I retweeted. So let's check that out, exactly what Hara is talking about. Yes, I remember this. So this is all about the Jasmy Foundation, right? And so Hara says the account has no business relationship with Jasmy. I don't know who the poster operator is, and I only know what I said after seeing the post, and of course the truth is unknown. That's kind of like almost like a lawyer statement. I read that and I go, what? I'm not quite sure what you said, Hara. I think I know what you're trying to say, but I'm not sure if you said it there, right? So since it is open source, any large holder can freely make efforts to increase the transaction volume. Currently, we have not received any damage reports. Okay. So now down here, this is kind of exactly how I sum this up. So I think a lot of people have sort of been wondering this. So I have been talking about this, and I may as well bring it up yet again. I bring it up probably once a video about the marketing problem with Jasmy. And the marketing problem is kind of two, maybe threefold, right? So the first problem we have is that the team and everybody in it is all Japanese. And so as far as I know, I think the only one that is American, well, I don't even know if he's American, but he's in America, is Ken Miura in Silicon Valley, okay? We do not have a marketing manager. That's the other problem, okay? Sort of a third problem that goes along with this is that there are numerous sources of information, okay? So we do not have one main primary go-to media person, okay? What we do have is we've got Hara, and he's kind of the main primary media person, so to speak, right? And we have the Jasmy management Twitter handle, okay? So between those two, they are definitely official. We also have the Jasmy global website on top of the actual Japanese website, okay? So let's say those four, they're official. Then we've probably got one more that I know of is the Discord channel. Danny on the Discord channel is official, okay? Okay, so let's say they're all official. Everything else, not really official, okay? Now, where it really has gotten mixed messages lately is all of these messages coming out of the Jasmy Foundation Twitter handle, all about different metaverse projects, right? And different announcements, and directing people to sign up, right? And the first 100 people get whatever, right? And you go to the page, it's completely unsecured. It's full of typos. It's very, very suspect. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. so so here's the way I view this. Okay. So I think this is how you clear this up for our entire community. Is if there is news coming out on Jasmy, it needs to come from the official source primarily first. That's where it has to come from. They have to advertise it. Okay. So is the metaverse part of Jasmy? Well, yes, it is. But are all of these side things like Red Token, for example, part of Jasmy? I don't know. I don't think so. And the reason why is that the main team has not been tweeting out, hey, we have this partnership with Red Token or whatever, right? Their last partnership they announced was the Mysticos partnership, and they actually announced it. They put it on their Medium page, right? It came from the team. Well, none of this foundation stuff has come from the team at all. Now, the foundation is also trying to direct people to Telegram. They've got a Telegram link to a channel there, and they put the Jasmy logo on it. It sort of looks like it's the real deal. But what is that, right? Now, to further complicate this, we've got some statements from Hara in the past saying that the Jasmy Foundation and the Jasmy League are ran by their, quote, owner, okay? He has said that on Twitter. This is ran by their, quote, owner, okay? So this goes all the way back to the question that I've asked quite a few times, which is who bankrolled Jasmy off the ground? I know they've had investment over the last couple of years. I think in 2021 they had like a $200 million investment. Prior to that, who bankrolled it, right? That's what I want to know. And so that's kind of where this one gets interesting. And I'll show that in a second, with where we think part of this is. Now, why it's complicated and hard to find this out is that at the time they were founded, it was not a legal requirement in Japan to disclose who the ownership was. They are also not a public company that has to abide by public disclosure. They're a private company, okay? So that's also a wrinkle in here. Now, what I posted here is exactly how I see this. So I'm just going to go ahead and read my statement, okay? So I see what's going on with the foundation and some of this side stuff as a third party. That's kind of who this is, right? Because it's not messaging from the actual team. We're not hearing this message from Ando, from Sato, from Hara. Nobody on the actual team is sending this message. It's someone else, okay? So it's a third party trying to lure community members into side garbage to capitalize on Jasmy's hype. So meanwhile, none of it has anything to do with Jasmy itself or any of its real partners. And this is true, right? So anything in the foundation stuff, they never talk about Vio, they don't talk about Transcosmos, they don't talk about WITS, etc. What I said here was that it doesn't have anything to do with Jasmy itself or any of its real partners. Therefore, it's not endorsed by the main team. It's a bullshit distraction. Okay? That's exactly how I view this. Okay? So, in this world of cryptocurrency, there are so many side players, scams, fraud, things going on, and there's a lot of noise, I think is what I'm saying. You have to be able to cut through the noise and break this down in a simple format, right? So who do we know that's official? Again, those accounts I mentioned earlier, those specific people, that's who's official. If it comes from them, it's official. If it comes from somebody else, it's not. That's how it is, right? Okay, and I'm going to talk more about this in a second. So let me go back. We've got quite a few things, around the FUD stuff. So I want to bring that up, and that ties right in. Here we go into Brian's post. So I mention this pretty much on a regular basis ever since Brian kind of joined the community here. I'm not sure if it's probably a combination of things. It's Brian's sort of dogged determination to figure this out, combined with a raging case of ADHD. So Brian, really gets into the weeds of investigation, and he's really, really good at this. Okay, so what he says is, others pointed out essentially that Jasmy is in its very early stages. We know that. Well, it's frustrating for a lot of us. Just keep in mind, information is hard to find, and even when found, translations can throw off context. I agree 100%. So here's some findings on BWE. So if you haven't heard of BWE, this is Bellwood Enterprise. Okay. And this particular company relates to potentially who bankrolled Jasmy off the ground. Okay. So Brian's got lots and lots of imagery within this post. I'm not going to get into all of that right now. I do want to show you, I found some information on them as well. They later became this Bellwood Enterprise Co. Limited. Okay. And the main business is securities management, investment, trading, and holding. Okay. Now, going back to Brian's post, down here at the bottom, I think it was this one here. So this talks all about how essentially the ICO FUD. Okay. So if you don't know what an ICO is, that's your initial coin offering. So when this thing was starting to go off the ground. Now, there's a lot of FUD surrounding Jasmy on the ICO. And the FUD is this, that somebody portraying themselves as Jasmy had a, quote, ICO event through an agency, and certain investors invested, and then they never received any coins. Okay. Now, Jasmy, the team, the official team, like we were just talking about, has come out multiple times on this and said, this has nothing at all to do with us. And they said that originally, early on, this wasn't even like legal in Japan. So any coins that have come out from Jasmy themselves are through an exchange. As far as I've been able to find, I think the first exchange listing was MEXC. Okay. And that was early on in 2021. So anything before that was not the official team. Now, what's interesting is if you think about this, right? So if you think about it and you say, okay, so a fraudster is pretending to be Jasmy and then throw an ICO, quote, event and looking to lure in investors to give them money. And then this, quote, person disappeared, right? That's exactly what happened. So how would they know that Jasmy was even a project to begin with, right? How did they know that Jasmy was even coming out? So what that tells me is this is somebody, this fraudster, who had insider info. It had to be, right? Now, I don't think it's anyone of the official team because they would be out of their minds to steal money and then say, hey, I'm part of the main team. So it's not them. It is not the main team. The main team has nothing at all to do with this. Now, what it could be, okay, what it could be is somebody tied to this Bellwood Enterprise Co., okay, in particular. So I want to show a couple of these posts here from Brian about this Bellwood Enterprise. And let me say also that when they were first founded, they were Bellwood Corporation. Then they later changed into Bellwood Enterprise Co. Limited. Then they had another merger, and where it goes from there, it's incredibly difficult to figure out. Okay, so this one right here, flow of funds for investors who applied for Jasmy tokens from FNA is as follows. So presenter, Shinemo, agency, broker, Bellwood Enterprise. This is where the whole Bellwood thing comes about. Okay, so this is specifically talking about the ICO. They're saying this ties to Bellwood in particular. Now, the interesting thing is I haven't seen anywhere from Bellwood where they have acknowledged this, have acknowledged ICO, anything like that, right? So it says here, the problem is the notation broker. Broker means Penane shop, whatever that means. In other words, it's a soft shop. We see, again, this is translations, right? It's kind of hard to figure this out. When we participate in the ICO, we purchase from authorized distributors. Originally, agents get compensation from sellers so they don't pinch from what we paid. Perhaps Mr. Shinemon was working with Suff Shop and he had a contract to get compensation, right? So again, there's no such description, notation, specified Commercial Transactions Act, so it's completely illegal, right? And this is what the team, the Haras, etc., have said to date, is that it wasn't even legal. So they've never actually had an ICO here. Their first listing was MEXC. That was where you could first start getting Jasmy. Okay. Moving forward, let's see here. FNA Bulletin by Shinamon Jasmy. So I think it's this guy here on the right in particular is the one that may be the guy that's partially behind some of this stuff. Okay. Now I wanted to go for it. I think it's this last post here that's the most important one. Yeah. So it says Bellwood Enterprise Co. Limited is also the largest shareholder of Jasmy. Okay, that's interesting, right? We do not sell crypto assets, right? So here you go. So Jasmy says we don't sell crypto assets from a legal point of view. We do not does not have an ICO. Jasmy coin was sold to investors in the form of transfer of receivables from Bellwood Enterprise Co. Limited. So this is that Bellwood tie again. Bellwood Enterprise Co. Limited is the largest shareholder of Jasmy, has signed a contract with Jasmy Co. through a major lawyer's office. Now, we've attempted to ask this question on Discord about who the owner is, and they will not disclose it. It's an NDA, right? And that's where this seems to come about. And I don't know exactly where Brian found this. It's cryptomate.com. Jasmy Co. Limited does not have an ICO, but receives a loan of business funds from Bellwood Enterprise Co. and pays repayment to Bellwood Enterprise Co. with Jasmy coin. Huh. Interesting. It was, and the majority of the assets that many investors invest in Jasmy coin is gathered at Bellwood Enterprise Co. There's some negative rumors about this never translates with Jasmy. And it seems there are many people who feel suspicious. Okay. So the reason why such confusion is happening is that suspicious people were mixing in among the Japanese who resold the tokens, right? So that's kind of the gist of this whole thing. So if you're still with me, so nobody in the official team committed fraud anywhere. Was there a fraudster who masqueraded as doing an ICO that was potentially tied to Bellwood? It seems that could be what's happening here. So like I said, how do they even get all this information about Jasmy in the first place? The only way I can think of is that they were tied to Bellwood. And by being tied to Bellwood, then they held this fake ICO, investors gave them money, and then they ran off with it and disappeared. So in terms of the various people in the community that have been posting about this, and I've seen quite a few posts lately about it, you're really not doing yourself any favors by posting on Twitter or tagging Hara, who had nothing to do with it. Really, what this is essentially is that if you were going to pay somebody a large amount of money at something like an ICO, this is basically a breach of contract legal claim. Okay, we have a breach of contract. It's a misrepresentation. It's a fraud. You were promised something in this contract. You performed your end. The other party did not. It's a breach of contract. Your recourse at this point would be a legal claim against that specific party. Hara himself has nothing to do with this. Ando, Sato, none of these guys have anything to do with this. So all the ICO FUD really just kind of is misdirected. And I think the reason it's misdirected is that this particular bad egg fraudster, from what I gather, has disappeared. So how do you file a legal claim against somebody who has disappeared? Good luck with that, right? And that's kind of where this FUD swirls. Now, going back to Bellwood, bankrolling Jasmy off the ground, has Jasmy repaid whatever Bellwood bankrolled? I don't know. I don't know if they did or not. Is the Jasmy team in alignment with Bellwood? No, I don't think they are. And that's obvious by the conflicting statements coming from the foundation, coming from Jasmy League, and then coming from Hara. Okay. So again, this is conflicting statements from various people. On the one hand, saying that they're Jasmy when in fact they're not, and then the actual team over here as well, right? So remember, the actual team, what are they focused on? Well, it's pretty obvious. They're focused on the personal data locker. They're focused on secure PC. They're focused on the Happiness Project. They're focused on Nippon Travel Agency. They're focused on their partnership with WITS, right? So driverless cars. That's all the stuff that they're focused on. Are they focused on any of these side distraction things? No, they're not. Okay. All right. I think hopefully I've hammered that point home on the way that kind of I view all of this stuff. I would like to have some more transparency. I would like to have a much clearer message. But again, I think the frustrating part in this is that this is a private company who does not have to disclose any of that information unless they want to. Okay. So what would really go a long way, I think for them is if they maybe tried to clear the air again. But the problem in them trying to clear the air is we have these translation problems. That's why we really need somebody who is a Japanese and an English speaker to translate all of this properly to English so that the English speaking community can fully understand what's happening. Okay. Hopefully I've covered all that. Hopefully I haven't lost you. Let me scroll on up from there. All right. So I did mention this here. Before I get into this here, well, I may as well share this. So tagging on to that, so for awareness, Jasmy-Mgt handles are Hara and Jasmy-Mgt. They're the official ones. Okay. Now, we did have a post from Jasmy-Mgt. This is talking about the Akashi partnership that they did last week. And it says, good day. We held the online seminar, introduced Jasmy's secure PC in Sector 1. Now, some of us in private chats have said, well, what exactly does that mean? What is Sector 1? Don't know, right? So again, I mean, we are kind of cruising into the third quarter of the year. What is Sector 1? Are we talking about something for next year? Are we talking about a sector, a geographic area in Japan and Tokyo? I don't know. I'm not really sure what that means. So we need further clarification there. Okay. Moving on up. So here's my other post from Dip Metaverse that I mentioned earlier with the Etherscan update. He said, new Etherscan update, just emptied out 500 million token wallet. So 33.8. And I even saw in our private chats from him earlier today that he said we're actually over 34 billion in circulating supply. Okay. Now I did share this. I think I may have shared this one time before, but somehow when I was combing for information, this is the actual Jasmy Office. So if you ever wondered, what it looks like, there it is right there. Okay, great. Moving up. So I made a video earlier this week on the Jasmy Clubhouse NFTs with everything you need to know. And that, the funny thing in this video, so the gist of it was I was going to go into their minting page and I was going to show you how easy it is to actually mint your own Jasmy Clubhouse NFT. Okay. Now the page says that it's live. Okay, great. And so I lined up everything. So the page says you need 40 Matic. I got 40 Matic. I sent it to my MetaMask wallet. I got some Ethereum covering gas fees. I sent it to my MetaMask wallet. Because I bought my Matic on Coinbase, it was on the Ethereum network. Therefore, I had to bridge it to the Polygon network. So I bridged it over. I did all this stuff, right? And so I hit the connect button. And then I hit mint and I'm getting an error. And I keep getting an error. Well, the gist of what happened was I finally realized that when I connected my wallet, it then changed to a price of 4,000 Matic. So it moved from, like $23 to like $23,000. Okay, is what it would cost to mint. And so I thought, well, that isn't right. So I went on over to Discord. I asked a question. I had a couple of the people in the community respond that basically said, hey, the mint's closed. We decided to end it. All the entire supply now is 2525 out of 10,000. So a little over 25% were minted. And that's it. And I said, well, that's great. However, these are super cool, right? And if you look at them on OpenSea, there are only roughly 270 people that own these. So the entire Jasmy community is over 31,000 strong, which basically equates to less than 1% of our entire community has a Jasmy Clubhouse NFT. Okay. Now that was part of this. So in the Discord group, some of the moderators I know do have those NFTs, and one of them reached out to me to say, hey, let's chat on the side about this and maybe clear up some of these things you brought up in the video. So I may have a part 2 follow-up to the Jasmy Clubhouse NFTs. Okay. So they're still out there. They are pretty cool. The rare ones are Hara and the Dell Crypto. Obviously, Dell Crypto was part of this promotion in some way, shape, or form. Those are the rare ones, but there are some really cool Jasmy NFTs that are out there. Now, the interesting thing that I've realized with them is that the NFT project seems to at least, from the Discord community. Okay. Now, it is not the official team. Okay. Now, what they did do, I have seen the post early on where they said, hey, we're sending, 5 NFTs over to Hara. We'll see if he likes one. Well, he actually did pick one. He said, I like my NFT, right? He said, he posted about it. He said, yeah, I think it represents me. I really like it, whatever. This is the one with him in the purple background. Okay. But when he posted about the NFTs in particular, he actually was talking about the fan token. He wasn't talking about the art collection. Okay. So again, this NFT set, to me, at least on the surface, and I could be wrong, and we'll clarify this in part 2, but it seems like a third party created the NFT set. Perhaps it's, I think it's Takeo, who is on Discord, who responded that said they needed to update this. Got it. But what's different from like the foundation and these other side things is that with this particular set, Hara did endorse it and retweet it. so that's pretty cool. So these are actually really cool. All right. Super cool NFTs. So roughly when they did all the mint was February of this year. The mint is long closed. Now the floor of these NFTs has been going up as time's been going on. So they are a potential investment opportunity, as I mentioned earlier, and they're pretty neat looking. Let me just go ahead and show you what they look like. I covered all this in my actual NFT video, but this is it. So if you go over to OpenSea and you just search for the Jasmy Clubhouse, here are the various NFTs that are listed. Some of them are kind of neat. Like here's one. She's got the Game Boy. You can see that there. Some of them have this like fox with like the 5, 6, 7 tails on it. That's kind of neat too. This one has a Sony receiver here. That guy's got a Sony receiver. Pretty neat. Here's one of the Dell Cryptos here. He's got the suit and the foxes. Here's another Dell Crypto. There's a Dell Crypto. Here's a Hara at 1 Ethereum. And then I noticed that after my video, a couple of these other ones have listed as well. So we've got a couple other Haras that have come up here that are also listed in the NFT set. So bottom line is they are super cool. And if I had it my way, I would tell the creators that maybe we need to open this mint back up. And if so, we could promote it through the channel here, however you want to do it. And I just think it'd be really cool to get more of these out to the community, as they're really neat, and Hara has endorsed it. Okay. So that's kind of where that's at. All right. Scrolling on up here. So moving on up. I did have this post here from Zippy. Zippy's one of my good friends from Wales. In this post, he mentions that we're over 31,000 HODLers. Okay. Now, moving on from there, I wanted to show, before I show you the chart, let's go over to CoinMarketCap in particular. So here's the holders of the HODLers on CoinMarketCap. So still building Mount Jasmy, right? Coming out of the Pacific, we're still building. Totally awesome. That's a good thing. But CoinMarketCap is just killing me. I think it's killing all of us because it's very misleading. So yet again, circulating supply still only shows 4.75 billion. This is wrong. This is categorically, factually wrong. Now, if you hover over the check mark, it says self-reported numbers 30 billion.8. That is not updated either. What is correct are the actual Etherscan numbers that Dip Metaverse tracks. So we are officially over 34 billion of the supply is in circulation. Okay. So why this is misleading, it makes the market cap, for one, make it look like it's $43 million, right? Well, the market cap is basically right now somewhere over $300 million. So that's completely different, very misleading. And unfortunately, the way that CoinMarketCap works is they have an algorithm that figures this stuff automatically. When it updates, no one knows. When it last updated, no one knows. There's no schedule, there's no timestamp, there's no date, there's nothing. And so it's basically just a very misleading number from a popular site. All right. So anyway, that's it on that front. Now, lastly, I did want to show you the chart here on Jasmy. Now, I have highlighted this before, so I want to kind of talk about this again. So one of the things that I think is really important when you're looking at the chart is the EMAs and volume. Okay. Now, volume's a little misleading on Jasmy because we have so many exchanges. So you really can't look at the volume here. But what you can look at are these EMAs. Okay. Now, when the EMAs are bullish, the red EMA, this is the 20-day moving average, is on top. The 50-day, the green one, is in the middle. And the 200-day, the blue one, is on the bottom. Our EMAs are backwards. Why are they backwards? Well, they're backwards because, let me close that. Sorry about that. There we go. They're backwards because we are firmly in a bear market, okay? Now, where they could flip-flop and go bullish is the tighter they get together, then the higher the odds are that they're going to go bullish. Now, as you look at this one cruising down here, they're getting tighter and tighter. So we've still got quite a few months for all three of these to come together. But when they do, then this easily could swap and go bull on us, okay? So that's what I am watching right now. Now, as of right now, the 200-day EMA, what's that at? It's, what, about 3.036, 37, 38, something like that. So it has a long way to go to get all the way down to where we are now at 0.009. So this is going to take months for these EMAs to line up together. When they do, I think we could flip bull. I've said all along that I think we could have a rebound in this cycle because I think this Bitcoin cycle has sort of been, artificially suppressed by all of the geopolitical and just god-awful market news and updates, etc. So as time goes on, eventually the inflation has to stop at some point, even though it's going to, kill some of the other markets. We potentially have the recession. But I think what's important here is that you simply look at these EMAs and they need to come together, and they're nowhere near coming together yet. So I think we still got months kind of floating around the bottom. Could we bounce up a little from there? Absolutely. Could we bounce down a little? Absolutely. That's been my prediction all along. I've said, and I've done my video saying that I think this could go on a Cardano-esque run. Now, granted, we may have more coins out there than Cardano, so could that impact our run? Possibly. It could. But could we have a lot more utility at the time to go on that run than maybe Cardano did when it did its run? Possibly, right? So no one really knows what's going to happen on that front. But we do have a lot of really solid potential in the future. Now, lastly, today is the Metaverse 2.0 go live date. So that was previously mentioned on the Binance Academy. I haven't touched on it otherwise in this video because there are no updates on it as of yet. So whether that actually happened or what it looks like, to be determined. We're still waiting on that one. Okay, so I would just say be patient on that. Okay, so that's what I've got primarily here for you. Now, I'm going to sum up this whole video with the final thoughts and kind of bring it on home for trying to make sense of everything that's been happening in Jasmy this past week, which is usually a full-time job between all of us who do hours and hours of research on our various teams. All right? So with that, let's go into the final thoughts and bring this one on home. All right, now let's sum up today's video with some final thoughts. So first of all, I would say it's been a pretty quiet week from Hara. We really haven't had a whole lot from him, which makes me think that if he's quiet, that's because things are in the works behind the scenes, or they're focusing on something behind the scenes. Now, the big thing that was supposed to come out today on the 15th was Metaverse 2.0. We have not yet seen an update on this. So is that something to be bearish about? Not yet. Okay, I think we all just need to have a little patience here and wait for either a Medium article, a post on Twitter, a PR Times article, etc., talking about this. So more to come on that, but let's keep an eye on it. Remember that I don't think the actual team, as I recall, maybe they have, perhaps Hara has, tweeted about this or talked about it in any way. Where it originated from was the Binance Academy video on Jasmy in particular, and in that video, as well as in their posting on Jasmy, they had a lot of information that no one else has seen. So they're talking to somebody behind the scenes. It seemed like it was Jasmy themselves, so to be determined, okay? Now, going to sort of some of the mixed messages, right? There is a lot of that right now, a ton of it. Mixed messages all over the place. There's the ICO FUD. We don't know who's behind Jasmy Foundation. The Jasmy League page in particular, their email address goes back to Bellwood. Bellwood is this investor company that it appears bankrolled potentially Jasmy as their largest investor off the ground. None of this info is public. It's all private because they're a private company. They don't have to share it. It's also very difficult to find this stuff through Japan. So big shout out to Brian Russell for all the research he's done. Significant amount of research, as well as the other guys, Zippy, Dip Metaverse, etc. There's quite a lot of people that are doing a lot of research on this behind the scenes, trying to figure this out, Lil Bidman, you name it. So with that, okay, Bellwood, as far as we can tell, is not a fraud or was not involved in the fraud, okay? Now, where it gets interesting is when you look at fraud that occurred and you say, okay, whoever this was had to know about the Jasmy project before it went live. They had to know about this opportunity. They marketed it and then they disappeared, right? The guy we showed the picture of, okay? He's gone. Who knows where he is now? No idea, okay? How do they get all that insider info? Well, usually you would get that kind of thing either by being involved in that project, investor group Bellwood, potentially, or he could have hacked Bellwood for all we know. No idea. We have no idea how he got all of this information, okay? Now, moving to today, the Bellwood interaction here that's apparently behind Jasmy Foundation, as well as the Jasmy League, seems really weird to me. It's really weird because it's inconsistent messaging. It has nothing to do with any of the core technologies that the actual team is working on. Like I said earlier, the personal data locker, Secure PC, the Happiness Project, Nippon Travel Agency, any of their partners. It has nothing to do with any of that. All it is a distraction. And it's sending you to an unsecured page riddled with typos. I mean, they may as well be sending us to the Nigerian prince who has the diamond mine that they need you to invest in, and please share your bank account number, right? I mean, that's kind of how this is going, okay? So that's why I really wanted to just clarify to everybody out there who the official channels are, right? So official is Hara, official is Jasmy Management, right? Those are official. The Jasmy Medium page, you know, that's official. Jasmy Global, that's official. The Japan page, that's official. Okay, all of these are official, okay? These other sources, not so much, or they're tied loosely back to the original team. And so it seems to me that whoever this investor is, this Bellwood, is trying to do things on the side, and what it appears to be is trying to capitalize on Jasmy's hype now that the project itself is really taking off, because a lot of people really like the project. But this whole angle of it is totally weird, totally odd. I wouldn't endorse it and I wouldn't go there, okay? The only thing that I would follow is statements specifically from Hara or Jasmy Management. Those are the official statements, okay? So that's really important, right? So remember that. Now, with the NFTs, hopefully we'll get more information on those. I think they're super cool, the Jasmy Clubhouse NFTs. Were they created by the Jasmy team? No, it does not appear so. But were they endorsed by Hara? Yes, so that's different, okay? Hara did not endorse Jasmy Foundation. He didn't endorse, Red Token or any of that stuff. But he did endorse the NFTs from Jasmy Clubhouse. So they're super cool. They're on the rise, very limited, less than 1% of the entire community owns them. And hopefully we'll have more information to come out on that now that I'm talking about them. Okay, so I think they're really cool. I tried to mint it, couldn't. Go figure. Site says it's live, it's not. Okay, great. So anyway, more to come on that. Now, outside of all of that stuff and everything that's been happening, the circulating supply we know for certain is over 34 billion, okay? Everything that's in CoinMarketCap is 100% wrong. So it is over 34 billion. As I've said before, Dip Metaverse and his spreadsheet game is on point. He's got an accounting background, and we are confident in his numbers that 34 billion is accurate, and that's taken exactly from Etherscan. So all of the transactions of record, okay? So we know it's 34 billion. So basically we only have 16 billion left that's out there, okay? Now, could those steadily be coming out as we add more centralized exchanges? Yes, they could. As well as this market's bear, you know, we could have more coming out, etc. Okay? So be mindful of that. And lastly, the only other thing that I would add to this video is to say, keep an eye out for our weekly call. As I mentioned, that last call, it looks like Jasmy US did have it recorded and has the recording posted. So if you can't call into the actual call, you can always listen to it later. You can listen to all the different speakers. The calls usually go 2 to 3 hours. We share all the weekly Jasmy updates, what we're thinking about it, and then everybody tends to learn something. We'll answer questions from the crowd, whoever circulates through there. So keep an eye out for that. I don't have an invite yet for this week, but I imagine after Jasmy US sees this video, we'll probably get that invite shortly, and I will retweet it on my Twitter handle. Okay? So that's it for this week's Jasmy update. Hopefully that kind of clears some of the air on what's going on. By all means, if you have questions, leave them in the comments, leave it on Twitter, and I'd be happy to answer with my interpretation of what's going on. Is it tricky? It is very tricky sometimes with the language barrier. We don't have an official English speaker, so the translations get muddy. And then you have all these third parties that are getting involved for various reasons. So mixed messaging. This is why we need a media person. I'm just going to keep saying it. Every video I'm going to say media person, right? Consistent messaging, okay? That's what we need here. So the idea, the tech, all that stuff is great. I'm focused on execution. I'm focused on the fourth quarter. That's what's important to me now. But all this other stuff, we do need to kind of clear the air. So hopefully that happens sooner rather than later, because I do know that Hara does follow all this stuff and does pay attention and does respond to the community when enough people talk about it. So that's it, all right? So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget that I'm also on Twitter at KIR Finance, where you can find me tweeting, retweeting on a regular basis. Check me out there. I've also got the Patreon page up along with the website. If you go to the Patreon page and you want to become a monthly supporter, that'd be totally awesome. I've got super low tiers. You can contribute towards the channel. That would be great. It helps me level up the content. It helps me leave all my side gigs behind and put more time into the channel and making videos, which is what I'd rather do anyways. But it's hard to do that as it stands currently in this bear market. Okay, so any support you can give to the channel, always greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciate all the collaborators out there on all the various formats. All of you are absolutely awesome. Your research, second to none. Appreciate all of you. And so with that, I will see you on the next one. This is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance channel. Always steer back and tells it like it is.